Today we're making sausages. This is the South African version, which is called Boerewors. Loosely translated means farmer sausage. It's just a different type of spice used compared to other sausages. It has 60% beef and 40% pork. You can do it also only with beef if you don't want pork, but that's sort of the common one. Some add lamb as well. And then there's various different spices you can add in as well. You're looking at your basic ones here. So this is just a sort of basic recipe, but you can buy ready mixed ones as well online. You can add cheese, you can add chili. There's a whole range of flavors you can add to the wors. Wors is a short nickname, and so is Boerie. Those are the two common nicknames. That's what they're called. So just for the basic mix, you're looking at salt, black pepper, some cloves, nutmeg, allspice, coriander seeds, and that will be toasted and ground, all fine coriander powder, and then just a bit of Worcestershire sauce and brown vinegar. I'll put all the quantities for the spices in the description, as well as the names of the ready-made spices that you can also buy online as well. It's quite handy. So we'll start by breaking down the meat into small chunks, because that has to be ground down into minced meat or ground meat, and then we'll stuff it after that. Keep it as chilled as possible. You don't want it to be warm, otherwise it starts getting really mushy when it comes to stuffing it. This is quite a coarse ground sausage, so it's normally like an 8mm hole in the plate, which is not that common in certain countries. But that texture does definitely make a difference. All right, so let's just get started. We'll start with the pork. So this is pork belly, nice and fatty, as you can see, because for sausage you need at least 20% fat, or 20% fat is recommended. Any less, it ends up being too dry. So the ideal is 20%, and the beef as well. These are roasting joints. Again, a bit of fat on these too, so with them both mixed together, you're probably looking at about 20% fat. So just from the experience of making it before, that does work out well. You could use pork shoulder as well, that's quite fatty, but I find the belly is a bit fattier, because the beef isn't always that fatty that you get. It's just, you just got to balance it out really, that's it. Okay, so we'll put this one side. And just not breaking this down into small enough pieces for the grinder. This is also rindless pork. You don't want to have the skin on or the rind. It doesn't work with sausage, because obviously being in a casing, when you cook it, it steams and it doesn't go crispy, and it can be quite tough. So just be mindful of that. If you're doing any other pork joint, you'll need to cut the skin off, or the rind off, if that's the cut that you're opting for. You can just do a few at a time as well, just to make it easier. No particular pattern, just as long as your grinder can take the sizes of the chunks that you're cutting. That's the pork done. Right, so put that one side, and let's move on to the beef. These are bigger cuts, so really just probably slice them into even pieces, and then just cross cut them again as well. These are usually inexpensive cuts. You wouldn't use anything like steak or fillet, or in your rump. It's a roasting joint, and for that reason, because it's getting ground, you can pretty much use any cheap cut. A lot of butchers, when they make sausages, use trimmings, which are sort of pieces you wouldn't really eat because they're all the trimmings from the carcass, but once you do grind them, they pretty much get tenderized, if you like. Any sinewy pieces you can cut off as well, because that doesn't work well with sausage. So yeah, smaller pieces like that should be fine. Okay, so we've cut all the beef and pork into smaller portions, and now it's just time to mix them up into one so that they're equally mixed. And then just to make it manageable, I'll put them back into two smaller ones, and then we'll grind into this container. So let's first add the beef. Pork. And just mix it all about. Some people put the spices in at this point. I prefer to do it after it's minced because you've got more surface area, and I think it flavors the meat a bit better. So that's ready to grind. So let's get that set up. Okay, so we're ready to grind. I'll put the meat into two separate smaller containers just to make it more manageable, and then we have our meat grinder. This is it's not an industrial one, but it's a fair size one. It can handle quite a large capacity. You do get those smaller ones where you can stuff and grind all in one. They don't always work that well because they struggle to get the pressure that a normal stuffer would. But it's good if you're beginning to start making sausages. It's something, not a bad way to start off. Before I bought these, I had that all in one grinder stuffer. You can also only do a very small quantity on them because it doesn't really carry on with a large load. It struggles a bit when you have a lot of meat. This is 9 kilograms of meat in total that we're doing today, so not a huge amount, but it will last a few months in the freezer. Right, so let's get started. So first we just get some meat on the tray here. Let's whack the stuff on. It does make a bit of a noise, so and just force it down with the plunger to just get it through. Although it doesn't need a lot of extra force, it gets through quite quickly. And as you can see, it's quite a coarse grain. The 8mm plate on the end here, which is ideal for this kind of sausage that we're making, which is Boerewors, or Vors, or Boerewors, whichever one you prefer. Alright, so everything's minced. We're ready to put the seasoning on. This is everything mixed together, all the different herbs and spices. Let's get it evenly mixed so that it's consistent throughout the mixture. You can see making a lot more than this, it starts becoming difficult if you're doing it at home. It's a lot of meat to manage, so it's easier to make it in sort of smaller batches, I find. So this would probably be the most that I'd make, although you could do more really, but you need freezer space too, because you're not going to eat this all at once, of course. And I'll just do it in sort of in phases, if you like. So just give it a bit so it gets in evenly everywhere. The meat's still quite chilled at this point, because again, you don't want warm meat when you're stuffing. You can smell the aroma of the spices. And at this point too, you can add anything. If you want to add cheese, you can have grated cheddar cheese. That's what a lot of people do as well. You can add some chilies, some fresh chilies, or you could even use dry chilies or chili powder, sort of depending on the flavor you like. I've seen some where they put like a chutney in as well. Right, so here's our sausage stuffer. It's a manual one, which is sort of top-handed, and you push the plunger down and then it forces out the ground meat. So first what we need to do is just add the casing on. You buy these casings online. This is a hog casing, which is commonly used for this type of sausage. This thickness one, it's about a 30mm thick or diameter casing, should I say. This is just soaked in warm water, as they're usually frozen, and they salted and frozen, so it just this gets the salt off of them and it actually just loosens them up. So you can start feeding it on here. Let's get a bit of water on here too. I find as well, if you just put them on one of these sort of horns and run some water through as well before. It just helps open them up as well. Otherwise they tend to be a bit difficult to get onto the what do you call it, a horn? I'm not sure what you call it actually. The stuffing spout, I suppose. I'm not sure what it is. Alright, so now we need to fill the stuffer. So this bends back like this. And we'll start packing the meat in. We need to pack it in nice and tight so that you don't have too many any air gaps or spaces, because you want the meat to be compact. Mix it with ice cold water with the sausage mix too. It just helps it sort of slide through the stuffer as well. And the ice cold water is just as well so that you don't have, you don't want it to get warm, you want it as chilled as possible. So, and we just need to pull some of the casing off onto the edge. And just hold slightly. Let's get some meat going through first, just to get all the air out. As it starts, just hold it closed. Just make sure that it's nice and compact. You don't want to overstuff it either, because otherwise it bursts, especially when you cook it. So it needs to be, it needs to be compact, but not extremely tight that you. All right, so that looks like it's ready to go. So. That's the first casing done. So as you can see, it's fairly compact in some places. Overall, that's not a bad go. That's the first batch there. So we just continue using all the casings, all different lengths. So yeah, you just keep doing that until your casing or your meat runs out, and that's how you make boerewors, or the start of doing it anyway. I'm going to be making a few videos after this, just on ways that you can eat this and enjoy this. So keep an eye out for those. Just maybe a couple of different options on, you can do them on a normal barbecue, or in the oven, or in a pan, but I'll just do a few options so you can see how it's enjoyed in South Africa, for example. And yeah, keep an eye out for those. They'll be made pretty soon. So if you enjoy, please like and subscribe. It will help the channel greatly. And see you in the next one. Cheers.